So, The View, all dressed in black, except for Whoopi. I don't think she dressed in black. She's like, I'm not doing that. That's crazy. So Whoopi didn't dress in black, but they all the rest of them dressed in black. So Sarah, Joy, Sunny, and Alyssa Farah Griffin. But Alyssa Farah Griffin said something that's very interesting. She just basically said, like, some part of the reason why some of the working class went for Trump, Rule goes for Trump. They go Republican all the time, which is quite interesting because I never feel like the Republicans do much for rural people, but rural people vote Republican all the time. But working class people feel like they're being left behind, so they voted for Trump. And they can go back if they feel like didn't do anything for them. They'll go back. They'll switch back and forth. But I like Griffin because Griffin is probably, of all the female Republicans they've had on there, I like her the best because she's like a moderate. But here's the thing: watching them being all dressed in black, Sarah, Joy, Sunny, and Farah, is that they're kind of part of the problem because they live in a bubble, especially Sunny. CNN has this problem too with all their pundits. Like the only pundit on CNN that leans right left that made sense was Nina Turner, and because Nina Turner was trying to tell everybody the truth. It's like, listen, I'm out here talking to people, and you guys are in a bubble. I'm paraphrasing that. Like you guys really don't have no understanding like how it's really out here for people. And say, boo, Nina, you're a hater. You hate Kamala. But even back then, it's like, no, she's telling the truth. And The View's the part of the problem. When you're on a show and it's just your guys' opinions, and there's only one journalist there. The only journalist there is Sarah. Like Whoopi's a comedic actress, Joy's a comedian, Farah and Anna are pundits. So Sarah's the only real journalist, but she's not the point person on the show. Like how Barbara Walters first started, she was the point person because she was a journalist, and then Meredith Vieira, she was a journalist, but you only have one journalist there. So you have all these women with different backgrounds, and they're just giving their own view. Of course, the show's called The View, right? But doesn't mean it's the right view. Like I got a lot of opinions, right? Doesn't mean I'm right, but I have my opinions, and they have their opinions. Here's the thing. Phil Donahue died this year, I believe. And I miss Phil Donahue. Phil Donahue was great. Because first of all, Phil will put on anybody. He will put on Howard Stern. He will put on Louis Farrakhan. And he would ask them questions because he's just a naturally curious person. Phil was a journalist. But then Phil would go into the audience, run around, give the people the mic, and they get to ask questions. Because Phil understood, I have my views, I have my opinions, but other people might have opinions that's different from mine. They might have some questions that's better than mine. And that's why his show worked so well, which was the basis of the Oprah Winfrey Show. Because I love early Oprah, because early Oprah was just like Phil, where she would go into the audience and the people would ask questions. The problems with shows like The View and CNN pundits and even MSNBC is that they just talk amongst themselves. They have no clue how other people think. And the difference between CNN and MSNBC is that with The View, you have an audience that changes every day. So you have an opportunity every day to get different people's opinions about politics, about life, about whatever. But they never talk to them. These ladies, five, six ladies, whatever number it is, they just sit there and gab with each other and gab and gab and gab and gab. And you just get their framing of the world. What they should have done, especially the last couple months of the election, every Friday or every couple of weeks, or once a month, whatever, they should have had a town hall type situation. Or every Friday is View Friday, and they would have maybe half the show interviewing guests so they have their opinions. And then the next half or the full show, the audience gets to ask questions. Or they have like, okay, this week we'll talk about economy. Next week we'll talk about daycare. Next thing we'll talk about groceries. And then the audience get to tell their stories, or there's a topic and the audience can tell their stories, or you give them a mic and they get to ask questions. Or when Kamala Harris was on there, the audience would get to ask, not hand-picked people, because I hate that, but the audience get to ask questions that's on their minds, and Kamala Harris will be able to interact with those people. I think they should have been doing that overall, of being for the audience to express themselves about how they feel about this presidential election, about the economy, about life. And Sunny Hostin could have said, hey, Kamala, we had a discussion recently on the economy, and this is what our audience said. Have your campaign staff thought about these things? And Sunny Hostin could have helped Kamala Harris become a better candidate, but Sunny Hostin didn't. Sunny lives in Sunny World. And again, I'm not knocking Sunny. I used to like Sunny, but she's I don't know, like she's almost like the all-knowing Sunny all of a sudden. And it's almost like, I mean, your opinion is fine, but it doesn't mean you're right. So the only, because I haven't seen the whole episode, I saw Farah's comments, and it seems quite interesting what she said. But with just seeing them sitting there wearing black, it's like, you guys are part of the reason why Trump got in there, because you didn't interact with your audience. Just because you're paid lots of money to sit on the show doesn't mean you have the best opinions of anybody else. You just got lucky. So this is why I miss Phil Donahue. I miss because Phil, you would get different people's opinions. Doesn't mean those people were right or wrong, but you get, and then sometimes if Phil said like, I'm not sure, and he would ask him a follow-up question. Like these things were important moving forward. And I do think we need to hear more from different people from these shows. We can no longer just sit there and just watch people just fight back and forth with each other like they know everything. They're just giving their thoughts and opinions, but your thoughts and opinions does not represent the whole country. So what do you think about Phil Donahue, for one? 2, what do you think about The View went all black? And 3, do you think that shows need to interact with the public more like they did back in the 80s and the 90s, before they acted like they knew everything under the sun, and now they're wearing black?